In the early hours of June 14, 2025, Minnesota was rocked by a coordinated attack targeting its political leaders. Two violent incidents in Brooklyn Park and Champlin shattered the state's sense of security, leaving one leader dead and others gravely injured. The suspect, impersonating a police officer, entered State Senator John Hoffman's home, shooting both him and his wife. Hours later, police found former House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband shot dead in their home. The attacker used a police-style SUV and official-looking gear to gain access, turning symbols of safety into tools of terror. Law enforcement launched a massive manhunt, with the suspect's abandoned vehicle providing crucial evidence. The attacks were a calculated assault on Minnesota's democratic institutions, sending shockwaves through the state and the nation. As dawn broke, it was clear. This was a direct, targeted strike against public servants, meant to intimidate and silence. Minnesota mourns the loss of Melissa Hortman, a champion of progressive legislation, and reels from the attack on Senator Hoffman and his wife. The suspect, Vance Bolter, is considered armed and extremely dangerous, prompting a statewide manhunt involving local police, the FBI, and neighboring states. Authorities have issued alerts and offered a $50,000 reward for information leading to his capture. Bolter, a former security company director and political appointee, had a complex background. Registered Republican, Trump voter, and vocal opponent of abortion and LGBTQ+ rights. He faced financial and mental health struggles, and his actions before the attack, paying rent in advance, sending farewell messages, suggested a final, desperate act. His security expertise enabled him to impersonate law enforcement and carry out the attacks. The manhunt is not just about apprehending a fugitive, but understanding how someone with civic ties could turn to political violence. Minnesota is left grappling with grief, fear, and urgent questions about the roots of such extremism. The state's sense of safety has been shattered, and the search for answers continues. Investigators quickly determined the attacks were politically motivated. Inside Bolter's abandoned vehicle, police found a manifesto and a hit list targeting nearly 70 individuals, mostly Democratic politicians, abortion rights advocates, and healthcare providers. The list included national figures like Ilhan Omar and Senator Tina Smith, revealing the broad scope of the threat. This evidence reframed the case as domestic terrorism, driven by extremist ideology. Flyers linked to the anti-authoritarian No Kings movement were also found, complicating Bolter's motives and highlighting the unpredictable nature of modern extremism. Police recovered survival gear and a ballistic vest, indicating Bolter was prepared for a prolonged manhunt. The hit list is now central to law enforcement efforts, as they work to protect those named and prevent further violence. The chilling details underscore the dangers of radicalization and the urgent need for vigilance. Leaders across the political spectrum swiftly condemned the attacks, with President Trump, former President Biden, and Governor Walz all calling for unity. Security for public officials has been dramatically increased, with round-the-clock protection for those on the suspects list. The need for such measures is a stark reminder of the rising threats facing public servants. Communities responded with grief and solidarity, public events were canceled, and the Minnesota Orchestra performed a tribute to the victims. The attacks are part of a troubling trend. Political violence and threats against lawmakers are at record highs nationwide. Minnesota's reputation for civility has been shattered, serving as a wake-up call that no community is immune. The state now faces the challenge of healing while remaining vigilant against further threats. The tragedy has united Minnesotans in mourning and resolve. The Minnesota attacks are a stark warning about the dangers of political violence. Democracy relies on debate, not intimidation or fear. Ensuring the safety of leaders and communities requires both robust security and a commitment to civil discourse. Citizens must report threats and support efforts to prevent violence. Building stronger, more connected communities is key to resisting extremism. As Minnesota heals, the focus must be on resilience, support for victims, and renewed dedication to peaceful disagreement. Rejecting violence and promoting civility are essential to safeguarding democracy. Only by standing together can we ensure that terror does not silence our democratic values.